On April 23, 2010, police raided this man's house. His name was Jason Chen, a journalist who had gotten his hands on a prototype of the upcoming iPhone 4, a device forgotten in a bar by an Apple engineer and sold to the tech blog Gizmodo for $5,000. This marked the beginning of a problem that 15 years later would still give Apple headaches. From the very beginning, Apple understood that secrecy was marketing. Steve Jobs knew people didn't just want a phone, they wanted a show. That's why, when he unveiled the first iPhone on January 9, 2007, he didn't just present a device, he presented the future, an iPod, a phone, and a web browser all in one. That obsessive secrecy, that aura of forbidden to look, ended up creating a paradox. The more secretive Apple became, the hungrier people were for leaks. The internet turned into a black market of rumors, renders, and supposedly leaked blueprints. That's how the economy of tech hype was born, and Apple, without meaning to, created its own enemies, the leakers. Let's rewind to March 2010. An Apple engineer, Gray Powell, is celebrating his birthday in a Redwood City bar. He's carrying an iPhone 4 prototype disguised in a case to make it look like an iPhone 3GS. The party goes on and Powell forgets the device. A student, Brian Hogan, finds it and after failing to return it, decides to sell it to Gizmodo for $5,000. Gizmodo takes it apart and publishes photos and details. Flat edges, a front-facing camera, the entire redesign exposed. Apple goes into panic mode. Days later, police storm journalist Jason Chen's house, seizing computers and hard drives. Outrage follows. Was Apple going after reporters like they were criminals? This was the first big chapter in the war against leaks, making it clear that Apple would defend its secrets at any cost. Fast forward to 2017, Apple is preparing to launch what would be its most revolutionary phone yet, the iPhone X, the one that would eliminate the iconic home button and introduce Face ID facial recognition. But then, in a critical mistake, Apple accidentally released the HomePod firmware, the software for its smart speaker, and that mistake changed the game forever. Analysts and developers like Steve Troughton-Smith dug through the code and uncovered a treasure trove. Detailed references not just to the iPhone X, but to its key features like the bezel-less design and Face ID. This incident, along with the massive leak of the iOS source code known as iBoot, revealed something terrifying for Apple. Code leaks are far more dangerous than a lost prototype because they expose the crown jewel of Apple's ecosystem, its security. Source code can be used to find and exploit new vulnerabilities, a far greater threat than just spoiling the design of a phone. The war over secrets had just gotten a lot more complicated. Which brings us to the present. Leaks about the iPhone 17, expected in September 2025, are a mix of both worlds. Detailed digital information that allows for near-perfect renderings of physical products. Rumors have already revealed details with astonishing precision, like the exact Pantone color codes Apple plans to use and a radical redesign of the rear camera modules. Which raises the key question. With all of Apple's security, how are they still losing this battle? Where's the breaking point? The answer lies in Apple's three main vulnerabilities: software, the supply chain, and the human factor. First, software. Despite its reputation for airtight security, Apple isn't immune to leaks from within, and software has become a central battlefield. Accidental mistakes, like publishing hardware identifiers inside software updates, have in the past revealed huge amounts of information about upcoming products. These slip-ups have exposed plans for devices like new Apple TV models, the HomePod Mini, and even chips like the A19 Pro, expected to power the iPhone 17. Unlike a lost prototype, these aren't isolated human errors. They're systemic failures in software release controls. Second, the supply chain. Apple's massive supply chain is, without a doubt, its biggest vulnerability. The iPhone is truly a global product with components made by over 200 companies in at least 43 countries. That vast logistical web makes total control practically impossible, creating countless risk points where information or prototypes can leak. Foxconn, Apple's main assembly partner in China, and now also in India, has been a recurring source of leaks. Rumors often come straight from factory workers with access to prototypes and design specs. The leaks can get incredibly specific: casing materials, sensor layouts, even battery size, as we've seen with the iPhone 17. And third, the most important factor of all, people. In the end, most leaks come down to human beings, and motivations vary from simple carelessness to profit or even the pursuit of fame. The iPhone 4 case with Gray Powell was pure negligence. The pressure and stress of working on such secretive projects can lead to lapses in judgment, even from top engineers. But the digital era has created a new ecosystem of leakers and content creators who monetize exclusive information. Apple has even publicly accused YouTubers like John Prosser of paying third parties to access inside information from Apple employees. The company claims these individuals seek money or job opportunities in exchange for publishing stolen trade secrets. That kind of behavior takes leaking from being a prank to being full-on corporate espionage, a serious crime Apple is ready to go after, and sometimes it's about revenge. A former Apple employee was blamed for leaking the iBoot source code, allegedly as an act of payback. For these three reasons, Apple simply can't keep its designs under wraps. It's a battle of control against the sheer immensity of information. Apple leaks have real consequences, affecting the market, public perception, and sales. They let competitors like Samsung react and adjust their products before Apple's launches, capitalizing on the leaks. For example, when word got out that the iPhone 17 wouldn't have an anti-reflective screen, Samsung had already released a similar feature on the Galaxy S25 Ultra, giving it an edge. And leaks about upcoming products can cannibalize sales of current ones. Rumors about a revolutionary feature in the next iPhone can push consumers to delay purchases, directly hitting Apple's financial results. By late 2018, anticipation of new models, among other factors, had already contributed to a drop in iPhone upgrades, forcing Apple to lower its sales forecasts. This shows how unmet expectations of innovation can hurt Apple, and leaks only make that worse. The story of iPhone leaks mirrors the evolution of technology and media. What started as a forgotten prototype in a bar has become a digital, systemic, and multifaceted phenomenon. It's fueled by the complexity of the global supply chain, software vulnerabilities, and the monetization of hype. Apple's war against leakers is a constant struggle to maintain control of its narrative and the element of surprise that has been key to its success. But as the leak cycle gets faster and more accurate, the company faces a new dilemma: how to balance its obsession with secrecy in a world that demands instant information. In this new landscape, the leak is no longer just a security breach. It's part of tech culture and the economy of anticipation. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.